Ah, say conscious, what are we gonna do a video on today? Could do another gaming video. I do so many of those, man. I just uploaded another Fortnite theory about the cube. We could do more Fortnite theories. I do too much Fortnite. Just wish there was a game that I loved so much. I just can't think of anything. You know, I wish there was a game that I had so much merch of that I literally based my entire channel off of, and yet never uploaded. What about that game Five Nights at Freddy's? You know what? Yeah, that's a good idea. What is up, FL Pack, today? I wanted to do a little video. You know, running out of ideas, and I was looking around my room, and I was thinking, you know what? Five Nights at Freddy's. I literally have the Fanta box on my shelf as a collector's item, so, you know, FNAF's kind of a special place in my heart. FNAF, the franchise turning, horror game squeezing franchise. You heard of it. You had to have. Whether it be you're a fan, a hater, or somebody who just saw a passing by of an ad for a Fanta commercial or a commercial for the FNAF movie, you have had to have heard it. How did FNAF get to this point? How did FNAF get so iconic to where you could scream it in a crowd and most people will know what you're talking about? I want you to test that. I want you to go out in, like, New York City, wherever you live, and just scream Five Nights at Freddy's in a crowd. 99% of the people will know what you're talking about. They'll think you're a lunatic, but at least they'll know what you're talking about. As opposed to back in the day where people would just think that you're on crack. So, what got FNAF to this point? Well, I think the story is very humbling, too. So before we get into the whole Markiplier thing, let's go back to how FNAF came to be. There was a man, Scott Cawthon. He was a game developer, a Christian game developer. He used to write I think he used to write books for kids. He used to make games for kids to teach kids about Christianity and stuff, which is, it's very ironic that the transition from Christian Bible games to this. But nonetheless, then he went on to make some just random fun little games. One was about a coffee maker. Maybe I think it was like Star Galactica or something like that. Then he went on to make Chipper and Sons. Failed game after failed game. He thought Chipper and Sons would hit the mark. And then people shit on it. Well, one guy in particular. He said that the game was too creepy. All games were creepy back in the day. Are you kidding me? The desolate feeling? Definitely not as lively as it is today. But anyway. He said the game was too creepy. And that if this is made for kids, it needs to just be stopped. And Scott took that to heart. Then he would go on to nearly give up. At his wit's end, he made one final resort. Five Nights at Freddy's. I know, right? Crazy. That this was his final project. His final bullet in the gun to finally take down the beast that was the gaming industry. And it almost failed. It was almost a blank. But then one man put eyes onto the game. That man being Markiplier. Now, I'm sure there was other YouTubers who played the game back in the day, but no one as big as Markiplier played it. And people looked at it. People bought the game just because Mark played it. And they loved it. They ate it up. They were fans. And then other YouTubers got on board with playing this game. And then more, and then more, and then it got to the point where the second game was made. And then that's when Daco started playing it, and that's when FNAF truly started getting FNAF YouTubers. You know, the first game never developed any, quote, FNAF YouTubers like they did with the second game. And then the third game came out, and that one was mediocre to some people. Scott was fearful. And honestly, a lot of people give Scott shit for constantly making FNAF games. But you gotta understand, this man was at his wit's end with FNAF 1. That was his, like, shot in the dark. So he's gonna bend over for his fans 100% of the time. I mean, look what happened with FNAF World. And that's another thing that we need to mention. Scott's love for the community. Year after year, we see gaming companies just throw what fans want out the window. They're constantly like, "Oh, but the fans don't know what they want. We're the game developers here." Scott changes that. Scott actually takes fans' criticism into consideration. Hell, that's why FNAF 4 exists, because FNAF 3 was such a failure to people that he was worried that people would lose interest in his game. So then he made the fourth one, which was supposed to be the finale. And then people shit on that game. So then he made a fifth one. And then, you know, that one was good. A lot of people liked that one, actually. But that wasn't the finale that he wanted. So he made the sixth game. People hated that one. And then he would just go on to make so many other games. To the point where he's written a secondary part of the story. The fans have created the story. And that's what I love about Scott. He appreciates his fans. I mean, he literally goes on interviews, and his first appearance on screen, like in an animated form, is in a Goodbye Matt Pat video. That is a man who loves his community. Because I have not seen any other developer do that. And every other indie developer is either a pedophile or they just huff their own shit. Because they think that they're the best thing since sliced bread. Scott actually criticizes himself. He actually takes the criticism and morphs it to make himself better. I have not seen a developer do anything like that. So, in my opinion, Scott deserves everything. He deserves the fans. He deserves the fame. He deserves the fortune. He is one of the best, if not the best developer, in my opinion. Now that the Glaze sesh is over, we need to talk about the drama. In my opinion, this is a stupid drama. Hindsight's 2020. Trump isn't the best right now. Then again, what politician really is nowadays? Let's be real with ourselves. But back in the day, Trump didn't seem all that bad. Like, he was still saying some pretty crazy stuff. But he wasn't as bad. But we find out that Scott Cawthon supports Trump. Bum, bum, bum. And people legit almost left FNAF over this. Listen, okay? I don't like politicians. I don't like politics. I don't like any of that stuff. I don't join either side. But to allow politics to ruin your gaming experience, the whole point of gaming is to escape from the hellish place we call life. And people, like, take everything so seriously. Like, oh my god, he votes for Trump. I'm sure that's changed. Trust me. Knowing Scott Cawthon, that probably changed, especially in 2025. But back in the day, I mean, Trump was a salesperson, dude. And Scott, I mean, like, come on, dude. You're really gonna leave your passion for politics? Like, let's be real. Now, do I 100% agree with his methods of using the money to go to, like, the Trump administration? No, of course not. But then again, it's his money. You chose to buy the games. He can choose what he does with the money. But I think Scott's definitely made up more for it with every time that there is a charity event that Daco hosts or GT Live hosts or anybody hosts that has something to do with FNAF, he always donates eventually. And then he always drops like little teasers for the next game. Again, what developer has done that? And now we need to talk about FNAF being in mainstream media. This is my proudest moment, dude. I mean, not my proudest moment, it's Scott's, but like I'm like a dad. That's so weird. I'm like a brother who's looking at his little brother grow and shape into a amazing human being. That's how I see FNAF. The FNAF movie. Let me get this straight, okay? So first off, we have a AAA developer working on Security Breach, right? That's mainstream enough. Then they get a movie, right? They get a movie made about them. And then that does well. And then that causes multiple places to contact them. FNAF is literally on a drink right now, as mentioned before. With the promotion for Five Nights at Freddy's 2, we got Five Nights at Freddy's on Fanta, on the main flavor of Fanta. They could have made him on purple. They could have made him on red. They could have made him on yellow. No, he is on the main Fanta drink. When you think of Fanta, what do you think of? You think of orange. And that is where Freddy is placed. That is fantastic. I'm just so happy. And then we get a fucking Dead by Daylight is collabing with them. Like, this is amazing, dude. Scott deserves it so much. And I think the success that FNAF has been through is not just because of Markiplier, but the games are genuinely good. What I think made FNAF successful is the somewhat unique gameplay. Because while other horror games were striving to be free roam and like 3D and be more realistic, FNAF strived to just be a good game. It was a point and click, and people loved it. When games like Amnesia or PT or Silent Hill, any of those horror games, they all strive to be more realistic and like free roam. But FNAF was so simple, it just worked. And that is why I think FNAF has gone to the level it has because of the love of the game. Scott actually loves and appreciates his fans. He loves his game. And I think even if FNAF goes on for 100 more games, I think it'll still live.